this video, I will be doing a monochromatic or grisaille painting. A grisaille is a painting done entirely in shades of gray and is a good way for a beginning painter to transition from drawing to painting. We will be working on a masonite panel that has been primed on both sides with a standard acrylic gesso. Also black and white paint, oil or acrylic, a number 4 brush, a palette knife, and the surface to use as a palette. We will begin the drawing as before by using the viewfinder to find the composition we like. I'm looking for good interplay of light and dark, as well as interesting shapes. I will do my layout as before, but this time, instead of using charcoal, I am using a standard 2B graphite pencil. Once again, I lay out my boundary marks, and while squinting, I focus on the large negative spaces around the head. Remember that the boundary marks are just an initial guide to the positioning of your subject on the page, and that they will probably change and move as you develop your drawing. I am constantly measuring and checking angles as I go along. I am also checking how things line up and proportional relations between shapes. I try not to dwell on anything for too long. It's more important to move along smoothly until we have everything down. We can correct afterwards. Once I have the main shapes down, I move into the smaller shapes, making sure to include shadows as well. After a good outline is complete, I will go in and do corrections using an eraser. At this point, I am checking structure and drawing what I know. I'm also cleaning up and clarifying my lines. This type of mapping, or outline drawing, with clear, even lines throughout, is a type of drawing that lends itself very well to painting. Although I have already made a value scale, I am going to do another one just as a preparatory exercise to familiarize myself with the mixing of paint. I will begin by using my palette knife to mix the number 5 middle value, starting with a white and adding black incrementally as I go. I keep adding black or white as needed, comparing to my value scale until I get a satisfactory tone. At this point, it's not necessary to get it right, as everything will need to be adjusted as we progress. Using my brush, I will now paint in the number 5 middle tone box. Here is where we come upon one of the differences between drawing and painting. Where in drawing we would incrementally crosshatch in our tone, in painting we can mix the tone on the palette and we apply it to the picture all at once in an opaque or flat way. I will continue to mix and lay in the tones in my scale and make corrections at the end. The next step, I will use my value scale to help me identify tones in my subject and number them in my drawing. The value scale is numbered from 1 at the top, the very lightest, to number 9 at the bottom, the darkest. I will start the painting with my darks, in this case the section on the back of the head. To mix up my tone, which is about a number 6 or 7, I will first lay out some black and white, and mix a good amount of a number 5 middle tone. Then I will add some black to arrive at my number 7. Once I am close in mixing this tone, I will go ahead and apply the paint. I'm not worried about getting the tone completely right, as I know everything will need to be adjusted as the picture is filled in. It's important to keep this in mind going into it, that there will be constant adjustments as you go along. This is part of the process. I apply the paint in a very direct and opaque way. Again, this is where painting differs from drawing. Instead of incrementally building up the tone as I would crosshatching, I am putting it down all at once, flat. Also, I am not worried about how the paint goes on, if it's messy and lumpy and not very smooth. The more important thing is mixing the tone accurately. If you can get that right, the painting will read, no matter how the paint goes on. I will continue filling in my picture until all the tones are accounted for. Remember also that the color of your panel is also a tone, and if you can use it in a section of your picture, you can leave it without filling it in. You can keep on working and correcting your painting until you feel you are finished. A good thing to do once you think you are done is to put your picture away for several days. Then, when eventually you look at it again, you will have a fresh perspective and will be able to see what went wrong and what went right. This is the end of this video. Thank you for watching.